Hey there. If you're here, maybe you're like me, figuring things out as you go, walking the line between being grown and still feeling like a kid at times. This podcast isn't about having it all together. It's about what I've learned, sometimes the hard way, and how I'm still learning. You're not alone in this. Whether you're a younger sibling, a parent tuning in with your teen, or just someone curious about what a 20-something has to say about life, welcome. These are the stories and the lessons that shaped me. I used to think confidence was loud, like the girl who always had something witty to say in class, or the one who posted every day on Instagram with perfect filters and better eyebrows. I was never that girl. I was the observer, the quiet one, the girl who rehearsed her Starbucks order 3 times in her head before speaking. But somewhere between 19 and 24, I learned something life-changing. Confidence doesn't always sound like volume. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it's simply showing up. I remember a moment in college. I was in a philosophy class where everyone seemed to love hearing themselves talk. I had an idea, a good one, but I kept swallowing it down. I didn't want to be wrong. Then the professor looked straight at me and said, "We haven't heard your voice yet." My heart raced, but I spoke, and the room got quiet, not because I was loud, but because what I said mattered. That was the first time I realized your voice doesn't have to overpower to be powerful. These days, my voice shows up when I write, when I comfort a friend, or when I advocate for myself. If you're someone who feels overshadowed, trust me, you're not invisible. Sometimes the world just hasn't learned how to listen to quiet strength yet. My first real relationship felt like fireworks and rainstorms. He was kind, spontaneous, and broken in a way I thought I could fix. I remember thinking, if I love him enough, he'll love himself too. I poured everything I had into that relationship. I ignored the red flags, not out of ignorance, but out of hope. But here's the lesson I wish I'd learned sooner. Love doesn't heal someone who doesn't want to heal. Loving him taught me more about myself than I ever expected. It was a mirror, reflecting my fears, my boundaries, or lack thereof, my desperate need to be needed. After we broke up, I cried for months, not because I missed him, but because I didn't know who I was without him. That season of heartbreak, it turned into the most important season of growth. I started therapy. I journaled every day. I took solo walks. I forgave myself. And eventually, I learned that love is supposed to be mutual, not medicinal. Now, when I love friends, family, a partner, I try to love without losing myself. Because healthy love should add to who you are, not erase parts of you. By 25, I was supposed to have it all figured out. A career, a relationship, maybe even a dog, and a tiny apartment with houseplants I actually remembered to water. At least, that's what I thought when I was younger. Instead, at 25, I was in a job I didn't love, living with 2 roommates, and still trying to decide if I wanted to move across the country or stay close to home. Everyone around me seemed to be getting there. One friend was married. Another was finishing med school. One had just bought a house. And then there was me, Googling how to be happy without knowing what you're doing. Here's what I've learned. Life is not a race. It's not a checklist. And it certainly isn't a one-size-fits-all journey. Some of the happiest people I know took the scenic route. Some of the most grounded people had messy 20s. The timeline is a myth. There is no late. There's only yours. And when I stopped measuring my life by someone else's calendar, I started noticing all the good things blooming in their own season. I failed my first internship interview. I choked halfway through my answer and blanked on the company's name. The recruiter smiled, but I could tell I wasn't getting the job. I cried in the bathroom afterward. That same week, I didn't get into a grad program I had pinned all my hopes on. Rejection email after rejection email. It felt personal, but it wasn't. Over time, I realized failure wasn't punishment. It was a redirection, a necessary crack in my carefully controlled plans. The things I thought I had to achieve were based on fear, not passion. That summer, with no job, I volunteered at a nonprofit. I fell in love with youth mentorship. I saw myself in the teenage girls I worked with. That unexpected detour led me to a career in education I never would have found otherwise. Failing helped me let go of perfectionism. It taught me to try, even if the outcome wasn't guaranteed. And if I could go back, I'd whisper to that girl crying in the bathroom, "This isn't the end, it's the opening." My little brother used to bring me dandelions from the backyard. He'd hand them to me like they were roses. Зрение смеющийся, как будто он только что подарил мне золото. I'd smile, thank him, and toss them in a glass of water. Years later, during a rough week at work, he texted me a silly meme and said, "Hope you laugh." It hit me. His love was always so simple. No performance, no condition, just kindness. I'd spent so much time trying to be impressive, trying to deserve love, trying to be successful. But he, a goofy, chaotic, messy little brother, reminded me that kindness is the real flex. He listens when you're tired. He forgives quickly. He shares without keeping score. I want to be more like that. Kindness isn't weakness. It's strength dressed in softness. And my little brother, he taught me that. I once took 37 selfies before posting one. It looked effortless, but it wasn't. I cropped out my messy room, filtered the zit on my chin, captured the perfect smile, even though I'd cried earlier that day. And people responded with hearts, fire emojis, and so pretty. But none of it was real. Social media became a highlight reel that masked my real life. And the more I scrolled, the worse I felt. But slowly I started shifting. I posted less. I shared photos with friends just for fun, not for validation. I logged off when I felt comparison creeping in. I'm not anti-social media. I'm just learning to use it without losing myself. Because the real moments, like deep talks at midnight or dancing in the kitchen with your best friend, they never make it to the feed, but they're the ones that matter most. I used to say yes to everything. Extra shifts, weekend plans I didn't want, helping people even when I was exhausted. I thought saying yes made me kind, but really, it made me burned out. The turning point came when I missed a family dinner I desperately needed. Just to help a friend who didn't even say thank you, I realized I was betraying myself to avoid disappointing others. So I started small. I'm not available that day. Then bigger. I'm at capacity right now. And eventually, no, thank you. It felt awkward at first, but over time, I gained something precious. Peace. Saying no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you honest. And the people who love you will understand. My grandma passed when I was 23. It was expected, but it still shattered me. I thought grief would come and go, but it doesn't. It ebbs, flows, sneaks in on birthdays and quiet mornings. I still hear her voice when I cook. Still feel her hug in old sweaters I can't throw away. And that's okay. Grief isn't something to get over. It's something we carry. And in carrying it, We honor love that never really ends. I used to think I had to be perfect, the perfect student, the best friend, the ideal daughter. It was exhausting. Perfection became a cage. But peace came when I gave myself permission to rest, to make mistakes, to try again. Peace came when I realized I didn't have to be everything for everyone. I still struggle with the pressure, but now I choose peace more often, and every time I do, I feel a little freer. One day, I laughed so hard at dinner with my roommates that I choked on rice. We cried, laughing. Nothing special happened. But that moment, pure joy. I've learned that happiness isn't in the milestones. It's in the mundane. Morning coffee, shared glances, songs you forgot you loved. The ordinary holds magic if you're paying attention. So these days, I don't chase the big things. I slow down and savor the small. And somehow, they've become the most meaningful. These stories aren't perfect. Neither am I. But they're real. I'm still learning, still growing, still stumbling and rising again. If you're in your 20s or just remembering them, I hope something here felt true to you. Life doesn't come with a manual, but maybe, just maybe, we can help each other through it. Thanks for listening. You're not alone. You never were.